Alright, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Justin, this is Justified Speed and Style, and this episode we're going to be digging into my buddy's Joe's rear end. That didn't sound right. We're replacing his differential. It's a open rear end right now. We were going to be installing this limited slip differential, so we're not changing gears, just the actual differential itself. So I've never really done this kind of thing before, but I'm gonna try to take some measurements. I've done a little bit of research on this, and I think it can be done pretty easy. The kit did not include any kind of shims, so that makes me nervous a little bit, but we'll see how far we get, and yeah, hopefully it turns out good. All right, let's dig in. All right, so for anybody who's never done this before, on, I don't know, 95, 98.9% of GM differentials, they're held in, your axles are held in by these C-clips. So I've already removed one of the axles because I had to get the spline count. So how this actually works, it's pretty simple. Try not to get oil everywhere, because this stuff, it stinks horribly. Matter of fact, let's first start off with a rag. It's like a close to rotten egg smell. So I'll put this back in here real quick. That's probably close enough for some visual purposes. So, how you have to remove these axles. There's a pin. You unbolt this, and these usually break, so that's great. You have to get this out of here. If this breaks, typically it breaks off right at the threads. You have to somehow get that out, which can be challenging. So anyway, you'll pull this out. This frees up this pin here. See, that actually would go right into that hole. So you slide this pin out. I can rotate this a little better. And then there is your axle right there. So you in turn push the axle in, and this C-clip rides right in there. So all you gotta do is take a magnet, pull these out, and then you can just slide the axle right out of it. I've already done that. Like I said, I had to get spline count, so we'll be tearing this differential out. The first thing I'm gonna do is get rid of this brake line, which is just not right. It needs to be up and over the down. We'll make a new one, make it better so we can service it without getting frustrated by your brake lines. So that's first. Now, even though I'm not reusing this line, I will make a new one. I like using line wrenches. I don't like using channel locks on these. You'll gnarl the threads all up. It just looks stupid. And if you're reusing it, you want a nice quality line wrench on here to get this nut loose. You know, if you were just gonna smash these and throw these away or whatever, sure, whatever, but. And I know it's not everybody has line wrenches, not everybody can you know, when you're on the go, you're on the go, I get it. But if you can, when you can, use the right tool. Also looking for that. Alright, so get this guy out of here. bend him up out of the way for right now. All right, the next thing I want to do, I'm going to set up a dial indicator and see just how much play we have everywhere. I think this is called backlash. Not 100% sure. I don't do differentials. This was just a thing where my buddy Joe said, hey, let's do this. I said, I don't know, man. I've never done it before. He said, let's do it. I said, okay, we're doing it. So let me get my super highly sophisticated dial indicator set up. Flatter surface first. So that's at 1. That's at so about 6 thousandths is what we're moving. All right. So when I reassemble it, I'm going to try to shoot for 6 thousandths. All right, let's start taking things apart. Get this guy back out of the way. Take these cap screws out. Make sure that goes back on the right side. Make sure this guy goes back on the left side. Give it to me. All right. All right, let's go right to the bench with this. All right, so we're just basically just pulling this ring gear off and putting it on this center section. Alright, now what kind of weird science do I gotta do to get this thing off of here? So, we'll clean this up, parts washer. We're good. Get all the, these are blind holes. Or no, it's not a blind hole. Is it a blind hole? I don't know. These holes don't go all the way through. So if you fill them with oil or get something in there and you try to run the bolt in there, well, you can't compress a liquid. So what'll happen is you're gonna strip the bolt out. So we wanna make sure these are all good and dry and clean, and we're gonna put some Loctite on the bolts going back in. So real quick, this is the new posi differential. There's essentially clutches and springs in here that hold these things. They will slip this way, again, because there's springs in here. It's not a spool where you're locked all together, but it's enough slip when you go around a corner that one tire will slow down, the other can go faster. But when you go forward, there's enough force here that both tires will spin. Unlike just having open diff, which you just have spider gears in here. So when one side, that's it, it just spins. That's all you get. Pretty good analogy on a movie, what was that? My Cousin Vinny. It's a good one. Anyway, let's get some stuff washed up and go from there. All right, I'm gonna use my sewing kit here to something to wash these up with. Put them in there. Let them both soak. Get on here. Oh, that's nice. All right, so I ended up finding a piece of thin wall pipe in the scrap pile, so it fits perfectly where I need it to fit. And just a little more right there. Perfect. All right. Looks like we're ready to install this and go from there. All right, we are ready to install this. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of gear lube on here, on the gears themselves, or I'm sorry, on the bearings themselves. Mainly so I can track it all over everything. That's just disgusting. It's that one. And that's that guy. All right. All right, so unfortunately, I'm gonna have to order a shim kit for this. These measure identical sizing. So anyway, I should have actually done that already, but I did enough research to basically get lied to. So anyway, it's gonna shut us down on this, but I still want to get the brakes done on the rear end, so we'll knock that out real quick, or at least one side, because it's getting pretty close to dinner time. We'll get this. I already ordered the kit. It's going to be here in 4 days, so when it comes in, probably next weekend, we'll knock that out and get it done. I'll show you how to put it back in, and this is actually the same as that, except for it uses a smaller pin here, which, you know, it's going to be way more easy to break. But anyway, you unbolt this pin drives out, you slide your axles in, and C-clips go back in. It's a little more tight to get in there on this one, but still same principle. But anyway, yeah, we'll pick this back up when the kit shows up. So let's do some brakes. A couple things before we start. One, get a pair of brake spring tools. You notice there's different, they have different, I don't know, edges on them. It's for a reason, trust me. when you're taking these things off and you're using a screwdriver to pry this off, or channel locks or vice grips on here, and you're forcing this thing, and then you slip and punch the thing, and now you're bleeding, you're going to want this tool for sure. The other thing is, do one at a time, because the other side is still assembled. So when you forget how this goes, what spring goes where, go to the other side. Look, or get your video phone, your camera out, and take a picture, take video of it. That way you can go back and figure out what you did wrong. So the other thing is, under no circumstances are you to ever use compressed air and blow any of this out. I don't know what pads are on here, but we're just going to assume these contain asbestos. You're going to blow asbestos in the air. That is really, really bad. Do not do that. Always use some sort of brake clean or solvent. You know, drain it properly, clean it up real good. Should be good to go. All right, so let's get this stuff off here. There are springs everywhere. All right, so again, we'll take our brake spring tool, walk this guy off first. I say that. All right, that's off. And this one hooks over here. So we should be able to get this one to go here, here. Off. I'm going to lay that one on the left side. I'll lay this one here on the right side. Up the ground, of course. We're still up there. Walks around. Another tool is these little brake pad keeper remover tool. So when you push these on here, push them on and turn, and they pop right off. So we can now move this cut out. All right, so now there are contact patches where your brake shoe actually rides against here. So when you hydraulic pressure forces, there's two plunges in here out, these things are basically riding on these contact pads. This one here is pretty dug up pretty good. So I'm going to take a little sanding disc and sand them off, and then we'll put a light film of grease, just a light film. Because all you're doing is wanting just that metal on metal contact to be lubricated. You don't want the stick. dust you're seeing in the air is only rust. It is not asbestos, I assure you. I do actually make brake grease for this. I don't have any, so I'm using the next best thing. And by that I mean what I have. Just a little bit of assembly grease. All right, now we can start putting things back together. Yep. Let's go with this guy first. That falls and I'm not looking. Falling out of here. Stay up there, will you? All right. That's there, that's there, this is there. Goes this way. And get this guy around here. We'll use the right tool. We'll use the hooked into that. It just walks over there like that. All right, and they're nice and tight. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. I'm gonna dive into the other side real quick. I'll knock it out. But anyway, next weekend we will be hopefully getting everything back together with the rear end. And I think we're almost done with this truck until the engine's parts show up. So I have some ideas where I want to go. I think I'm actually going to start on the 36th floor. So that may be next weekend. It may be the following. Depends honestly on the weather, because it's, I think, 20 degrees right now, and it's starting to get really, really cold in here. The GoPro's dying, my lights are dying, and it's dinner time. So I was really hoping to get the rear end differential done and everything in and this thing back on the ground and wrapped up this weekend, but you know, doesn't happen. Doesn't always happen that way. So, but I do appreciate you guys coming back and watching the channel. It does mean a lot to me. I know this is not the funnest thing in the world, the coolest content and all the stuff, but I'm gonna get there. I have a lot of ideas that I want to get through. I want to make I have a tubing bender. I want to make a nice stand for it. It's air over hydraulics. I want to make a stand for that coming up. But man, I'm really wanting to dive into 36. I've decided to actually buy new frame rails. So we're gonna be doing that. And yeah, so thank you, and we'll see you next weekend.